And it's a great initiative from you to actually come and actually attend, you know, give you your time here for us. Uh, Before I actually begin, yeah, uh, just a quick question that I wanted to, ask everyone here. Yeah, how many? Yeah, how many of us? Yeah, and I'm gonna quickly open up for a poll first. Yeah, and then we're gonna, uh, start with it. So my question here, and I'm gonna start polling in, is, you know, do you think our children, yeah, basically are facing a world where we or our forefathers have never faced before? Thank you very much. I got the answer. It's saying 100% yes. I would like more people to vote in before I actually begin this and start introducing, because everything is dependent on this one question where we have all come here for our children today, and I would like to know more people who would say, are we in a world today which is so different that maybe we ourselves haven't faced at all? Yeah. So let me know, what do you think about it? I am getting a lot of yes today. Fantastic. Yeah. Can you guys poll? So there's going to be a poll opening up at, as I look forward for my presentation. Thank you. So yes, I agree that, we are in very unprecedented times from all areas. Today, just before actually starting, we are all, if this was a normal seminar, I would have actually come and spoken to you guys in a, in a small, room, and basically given you presentation there. But this is different time. There are that we're doing a webinar like this. uh, as I start along, yeah, just let me just introduce myself first. I'm Shivani Desai. By marketing, I'm a marketing professional now with 15 years of work ex with corporate environment. And, I am from Bombay. I'm a parent myself of a 12-year-old. His name is Shaurya, and I look forward to, these are my own experience that I've got on the presentation today, on saying that I myself as a parent today have a lot of questions, and they are unanswered questions. So I'm going to try and, answer a lot of questions that you may have regarding careers. What I'm going to do also is, in the last 15 minutes of the webinar after my presentation, I'm going to open this whole thing for questions on the chat. So you can type that. Plus I have also put my mail ID, because I am sure a lot of you would have questions that you would want to mail to me directly. I would be very happy to answer them also. Yeah. So starting along, I would want to, world disruptors. Now, in the corporate environment today and across, we are talking about a lot of world disruptors from a world which is very, very, very connected. When I say very connected today, one of the biggest is, be it technology, or the corona virus has started even being humans. I mean, uh, there is so much of connectivity that we have never ever faced, we ourselves haven't faced. Yeah, this is for the first time that we're facing such a kind of situation in human history. The other very important is artificial intelligence, technology. Artificial, what is going to be the future of this world? Yeah, we keep on hearing a lot of things, but we are already facing, I'm sure I can see there are a lot of doctors in this whole thing. It's no more about just working the way we used to. Yeah, even we have to at this stage add up a lot of new skills, otherwise we'll become completely redundant. Yeah. So how is, what does it look like? What does it look like to have a future which would be connected? Complete artificial intelligence is going to take over a lot of work from our side, and therefore what are the new skills that we're going to look at? So they are big world disruptors, and how are this going to impact careers is where I'm going to unfold the whole presentation further. Yeah. The second point that I'm gonna, talk about is climate change. We have all been, last year, if we look at even India itself, there has been such a huge climate. We don't know when it's raining, when is it going to, how cold is going to be. It's going to impact the economy over the time, and when economy is impacted, so are the jobs, so are the careers. Yeah, so what is it gonna be like because of all this? There are a lot of, questions, but unanswered questions they are. Yeah. Now if you look at from this world disruptors that are there in front of you, what are our skills going to be like? Which are the skills which are going to be become redundant completely? What we have learned, what our forefathers were taught, yeah, are this going to be the same everywhere? I mean, are we even in a position to guide our children, is the question that I'm going to ask you guys over the time as I take you through the presentation. Yeah. For example, we were taught that competition, your class was your competition, first, second, third, fourth in the class or in the school. But my question to you today as a parent is for our child, is competition really just standing first in our school anymore? Yeah. Is it about its world is the competition you don't know? An unknown face sitting somewhere is competition right now. How do you handle that? Yeah. What's the kind of so much every, I think the biggest issue that I when I speak to a lot of parents, they say that my child is on the mobile gadgets the whole day. There's so much of information that the child is taking. I mean, right information, wrong information, we have no clue as parents what's the kind of information that the child is taking from the web. uh, Also in terms of what's is it going to be when artificial intelligence in the next 5 years, 10 years, what is going to happen? Are we like really gonna, are there going to be really robots around? I mean, come on, is it going to be a reality or not? We have no clue about that. Honestly, there are already a lot of jobs that have been taken over by artificial intelligence already, and it's not a new thing. uh, there are already a lot of robotic functions which are actually replacing human skills right now. Yeah. So what is it going to be? Would our skills would be completely be redundant altogether? Yeah. uh, the other point that we are coming on saying, yes, there is going to be a lot of change that is going to happen to our lives, but what it is going to look like for the work environment? Yeah, when we work, be it any kind of, yeah, corporate environment, be it uh, being doctors, any kind of profession that is going to take. We keep on hearing a lot of things like stress. Keep on hearing a lot of things like burnouts. What is it going to be for our children? Yeah, are degrees going to be enough to get a job? I mean, those are the kind of questions that we are going to ask. Yeah. Would money be the only thing? We have been born and brought up on saying let's chase money, but is that the only measure that our millennial kids are going to go behind? What is their world gonna be look like? Yeah, and I'm gonna try and put up the questions and try and answer as much as we can that uh, are we really equipped, and if not, what can we do, is how the presentation on going to be. I'm going to pause for here for a minute here. uh, I do see that there are a lot of people who are finding a bit of technical glitch, and I would request Niharika to just take care of that. Please understand that whoever is facing a technical glitch, this is getting recorded, and we will certainly send you the presentation if you're going to lose this presentation now. Yeah. And as I said, all the Q&As, I'll be taking it at the end of the thing so that there's no disruptions happening. I'm going to move further on this. As I was saying, yeah, they are now trying to bring back to all these disruptors to saying what is the impact on careers gonna be look like. Yes, we know climate change. Yes, we know AI. What's gonna really happen? So this is a study by McKinsey, which has been used where it's basically a small glimpse on saying if I was in a certain profession, across countries, would that skills or growth be required? Would it be increased or declined? So, for example, there is going to be a huge increase for care providers. If I had to say why do you need care providers? A lot of countries, Japan, Italy, yeah, are going to have a lot of old population around. We as India in India are blessed with a young population, but there are going to be a lot of countries in the world who are going to have a lot of old population. Yeah, that majority, for example, Italy, Japan, there you are going to be requiring a lot of healthcare professional. And when I say healthcare professional, I do not mean a profession of a doctor only, multiple nurses, even old age support care. There are going to be new kind of skills that would be required at that time. Similarly, if I think technology is no surprise that it's going to be people who are, it's just not going to be any more a degree led thing. Even if you have a degree, you are need to have a certain kind of technological skills. uh, for example, for me as a marketing professional today, my whole marketing has moved from a lot of things towards digital marketing. I have to keep on, even if I have a degree of an MBA today, it doesn't suffice. I need to reskill it completely, yeah, where I will have to learn to be a digital expert. How does this environment work? What is the consumer like? Yeah. So technology is going to be a part of our life. It's already become a part of life. Yeah, let me not. So, but it is going to only increase. Yeah. So you're going to see a world where it's not about being a doctor, but being a doctor with technological skills. Yeah. So healthcare, but someone who understands the environment of how there's going to be a lot of online startups that gonna, we are already seeing that, but it's going to be a very simple world. I will see a lot of, so for example, right now if you look at, most of your kids would be stranded because of the coronavirus thing. Have the schools stopped? Not really. Yeah, they have been doing it online. Would you ever in your childhood, if we had a situation like this, we would be on a holiday for a month, 2 months completely. Yeah. So but nothing has it's not stopped their learning processes. It's already going on right now, and we are adapting to that new environment. Similarly, a lot of physical things, physical labor, physical skills are going to go away. Desk jobs are going to go away because audit jobs. So those are some of the things which are going to become completely redundant. They're going, it's not about just skills, there are going to be profiles which are going to be redundant completely. For example, if you are a CA, you would become an auditor. Would that be enough? No, it would be saying that skills wouldn't be required at all. You will have to, though you would have a degree of a CA, but you will have to refresh that degree and your skills to match the present environment. So this was a glimpse of different professions on how it is going to happen over the time. Further moving on to also very interesting thing that I wanted to bring here is about expectation versus reality. We as children were expected to do something. Yeah, so for example, I come from a family of doctors, and I have been asked to be a doctor all my life. I was a different, be the black sheep of the family, where I said no, I want to be an MBA. But yes, we were, or you choose because there were your friends going in a certain kind of role, and you would say, okay, my friend's doing it, let me just try it out. There wasn't really a scientific way of looking at it. Yeah. uh, Versus, I think the major thing that we wanted a career was to say, oh, let me have a good secure career where I can grow, there's growth, I can get a house, I can go on vacations, which is the present scenario, right? I wanted to get luxuries. But with the new millennials coming, yeah, is this going to be enough? I think things are already moving. You see a lot of bloggers, they are moving towards, it doesn't matter to them at the moment where people are saying, I want to do something that I'm passionate about. Yeah. Then there are a lot of people that I see, and young people at that, where they say, if I'm doing a job, yeah, I want to see the impact. Social entrepreneurs, we were never thinking about social entrepreneurs up till now, but people are moving. So yes, security, monetary benefits and everything is going to count, but with that, it's going to be about more impact, well-being. I think earlier we will say, oh, we'll work hard, yeah, and we'll see where it goes and stuff. But right now, with so much of stress around, people are actually choosing companies who have values of well-being in the companies. Yeah. So even the kind of expectation that we may have versus what our children may have are very, very different. Therefore, it's very important to understand what are their expectations and what is the real reality. uh, this is where I'm going to actually open up again my poll. My question to you, therefore, is today: are we really equipped? Yeah, as parents, yes, we have done our role. We are, great at our skills and everything. But are we really equipped today to really guide our children? And I'm going to open up a poll, and I would like you to, start voting for that. Opening up the poll, where my question to you guys is, do you think as parents we are equipped enough to guide our children in their career? Yes or no? Yes, that's an interesting poll. I have got an equivalent poll which says yes as well as no. Yeah. There are a lot of people, and I would love to understand this, that, are we equipped enough to guide our children in their career? Interesting. So the poll that says, at the moment that I have really got the poll thing, is there is 50-50 out of the 20. 50% says yes, we are equipped enough, and I would love to, speak to these people also. And uh, and I would also, be talking to these people who are saying no. Yeah. And let's take this presentations further to understand, are we really equipped enough to guide our children in their career? The question that I wanted to open this to you was, is it time to reinvent ourselves? Yeah, as parents? Yeah. And is it time for us to, ask ourselves, if as parents, do we have all the information? Okay. uh, so whenever I speak to a lot of parents, yeah, the most common confusions that I find in a career decisions are, a lot of parents says that, I don't know whether, though most of the kids, yeah, they know what they want to do, but at a certain stage they become confused. What I want to study commerce, but what after that? Should I do MBA? Should I not do my MBA? Which college should I go ahead for MBA? But I think the basic questions that we need to ask is, more than what should I do, why should I be doing this? Yeah. So for example, if I am a doctor and I want my child to be a doctor, I need to understand, why am I sending my child to become a doctor? Yeah. Is it because that I want him to be a doctor, or is it because I want him to be a doctor? or is it because the child has the capabilities and the capacities and the interest to become a doctor? Yeah, and is there a scientific way to look at it? A lot of times, a lot of people have very good businesses, yeah, and I get a lot of queries of those kinds where they say, we have family business that we have built up over the years, and I would want my child to be a part of it. I'm saying yes, but is do we blindly follow that anymore, or do we at least let's get a hang of things, before we actually do it a bit of research, before we actually push our child in a certain direction. Yeah, overseas education, the kind of costs, my god, I mean, the kind of cost, I look at it from an ROI, a business point of view, where I say that if I am going to spend so much money behind my child's education, yeah, is it worth it? Should I do an so for example, a lot of people want to, there's this whole craze about going out of the country. If I want to do an MBA, should I be going to a mediocre university in Britannia and US, or should I actually work hard and try and get into one of those reputable places in India itself, be it the IIMs of the world? There are new ones like ISP. Would they matter more on my CV, or would just going out and doing any kind of course from from a university, a mediocre university outside would help? I see also a lot of this new courses which are, they're clubbed together, which is like pharma and MBA together. Then there are this MTech and BTech together, and I'm like, yes, those courses are there. There are colleges out there, but is it worth sending your child there? Who's gonna answer those questions? Yeah. So we're gonna try and answer those questions on saying, is there a certain way, yeah, to actually choose the right thing for my child? Yeah. Or should I just get all the information and get just try and make sense out of it myself? Or is there a proper scientific way to go about all this? So that's my further question, and I'm going to open that again for a poll here, where it is going to be on saying the question here, which says, the question here, which are the most common worries as a parent for the child's future or career? Yeah, I would like you to poll for me on saying that today as a parent, what are the top most things for you guys where you start feeling that, what is it that the parents is confused? I can see some of the, it's some of the things that are coming interesting. I'm just going to wait for, because this is a very important questions where I would like to understand from you what's really happening here. Okay, I'm going to tell what are the poll results in two seconds. Yeah, let people finish their polling. Okay, so perfect. So around 48%, yeah, of the people. So the options, as you could see, 48, now 50% of the people, the biggest confusion is which career should my child take? Yeah, and I think I am with you on this. There is so much in the world today, so many options today. Yeah, everywhere there is a plethora of choices which are available to the child. But what is the right thing, and how do we take it? Yeah, and that's where I would want the people who answered yes to my question on saying, are we equipped enough? Yeah, what is your role as a parent for these children? Is it about saying, giving guidance? Is it about advice? Yeah, is it about help? Is it about support? Yeah, is it about assistance? Uh, uh, what is it that you need to be telling your child? where we say, okay, I think X, Y, Z, and therefore you are equipped for the right kind of career. Yeah. Uh, the next slide, which is again going to be, about saying which career should my child take, the biggest question that you're going, or even children's confusion. The second was about children's confusion of which stream to take. Even the children are confused because they have so much of influence. They have their, a lot of people, children have either their parents telling them, then they have the internets of the world that they're talking to constant. They have their peers. That's the biggest teenage influence that is there today, on saying what are my friends going to talk about, what are my friends going to say about. Yeah. And therefore, if you look at, we have always chosen our career most of the time in these four areas. Yeah, where we said, okay, uh, that is what everyone is going, this is the most popular thing to do right now, let's go ahead and do that, because there are going to be a lot of jobs that are going to open up over the time, and it would be a good thing to join in. Yeah. A lot of people said that the parents are like, yes, I have, be it businesses, be it great professions, where, मेरा बेटा क्रिकेटर होना चाहिए क्योंकि मैं क्रिकेटर हूँ. Yeah. मेरा better actor, Amitabh Bachchan. We have so many examples today where it said, I did it and now you follow me, kind of thing. Yeah. The also other thing I think, and very genuinely, and I agree to that. Yeah, I mean, money is important. There's no two ways about it. Therefore, but just money. I have seen a lot of people choose careers where they may not be really be interested at that point of time, but it gave them a lot of money. Yeah, and I'm not at the moment debating on any kind of financial stress the family would be, and that is an important factor to be taken when you actually choose your career. So there's no two ways about it, but let's understand that, are we just chasing money while making a choice of a career? We need to be just cognizant about it. There's nothing wrong about it. We need to be cognizant about it. Therefore, the trend now is moving to its holistic career. Yeah. And that is where my answer to you is, which career should your child take? Your child should be taking a career depending on, and I'm going to move to my next slide here. That's what your career decisions, and where people questions, answer that, yes, I am equipped. Yes, you are equipped to handle your child financially. Yes, you are equipped with your own careers, but you also need to understand your child's strengths and weaknesses, and make now a more scientific choice, rather than saying, yes, I am equipped right now, and I'll do a bit of research around. Instead of that, let's take a proper way of choosing a career for my child. Yeah. And that's where, the first and foremost thing that we really need to do, while making a career development model, because career is just not, and let me just explain to you what career is. Yeah. So when I say, explain to you, it is not about saying, मैंने degree ली, I have taken a degree and I have started, doing some work. I am spending as an individual from the age of 24 to 60, which is around 34 years, in a certain path of my life, where I spend, out of the 24 hours, if I spend 8 hours for sleeping, yeah, I am spending an average of 10 to 12 hours at a certain place. Imagine going to a place, being unhappy for 30 to 34 years, out of, almost 12 hours of your day. Would you want to be in a career that you has given you rewards, maybe in money, or you're, but internally you're not satisfied to? I think it's not a great way to live life at the end of the day. Therefore, there is a way of career development model where it is important to first, therefore, understand your child's strengths. Yeah. When I say strengths, what do I really mean by strengths and personalities? Let me just give you an example here. When I say strengths, what I mean by is saying, is your child great at numerical abilities? Is your child great at, kind of visualization? There are children who are great, awesome at, kind of just visualizing and bringing that to life through drawing. Is the child great at language abilities? There are some people who are amazing at language abilities like English. Yeah, so we need to understand first and foremost, and this actually starts by 8th ninth. Yeah, by 8th ninth you will be able to get a glimpse. Wouldn't suggest before 8th, but after, between 8th, ninth, and 10th, because 10th becomes a bit delayed. 8th, ninth is the time when you will start getting a glimpse of saying, my child, he will have a consistent performance for the last 8 9 years. Well, you will see through the report cards that the child gets amazing stuff at numerical abilities like maths and stuff, but maybe, languages is not his biggest thing. Visualization, some are amazing at crafts and drawings and stuff like that. Yeah, so there the ability starts showing. Yeah, by 8th and ninth they have almost developed what their strengths are. The second part of it also personality. For a teenager, up till we say it's the sixth, when they are 6 year old, then further on as you go on, their personality is being developed over the time. Yeah, 8th, ninth is the time that if you look at, for most of the teenagers are going through, and I don't know if there are doctors also on the thing, psychologically they are developing a personality. Their neurons are getting met, and newer habits, newer things are getting, newer view of the world is being developed. Yeah, but by 10th more or less, ninth, 10th more or less, they have a certain kind of personality which has been developed. Yeah, you can influence your, so if you look, most of the teachers that you will meet, they will say you can influence your child till 7th, yeah, 8th. But the moment the child is in 8th, it's most of the time no more in your hands, because he has too much of influence coming from outside, from his peers, from the world, now from internet, social, media, everything. So then it takes, basically there's a kind of a personality that he's developed, and you need to start it. So when I say personality develop, what do I mean by that? There are a lot of people. So for example, and I'll give you from a career perspective, yeah, an example here where uh, a person who is a businessman, yeah, versus a person who is a doctor. If you look at from a personality point of view, uh, the personality or the strength that a businessman needs to have, a go-getter, decision maker, tough even during times of crisis, in terms of making decisions, versus a doctor also requires all this plus another skill which is known as empathy. Yeah, if you do not have empathy towards your patients, you will know that after some time the patients won't really be open to you of what the patient is going through. So from personality point of view, we as individuals are born with introvertness or extroverts. For example, certain careers like media professional, travelers, bloggers, even news, the news items that we see, the reporters that we see, they are people who are constantly wanting to take risks. They like the adrenaline pump. So there are different personalities. We are all unique, and you need to understand if your child is unique in what way, and what are his strengths and what are his personalities, and how do you match them to actually bring a uniqueness to just which is there for your child. Yeah, so therefore, as I said, there is at that time, therefore the role of the parent when you are in the first to 8th standard is develop the personality and develop abilities. We already do. Yeah, we send it to good school by 8th or 9th. This is almost developed most of the time, and therefore the role and an identifier role, then an expert role of saying mujhe sab kuch aata hai and therefore you should be taking. Yeah, you should basically from then on, the role changes more towards a facilitator and an identifier. Identification from a, you will require an expert to come there and say, yes, I think your child has this strengths, and your child has this personality. How do you match it and therefore take it forward from there? Now, The second thing that you move forward, the second part of the role is about basically saying yes, many you I have found out my interest, strength and personality. What do I do? Therefore you will have a lot of industry, you know so for example, today, what are the five careers which are the top careers? Would you know? You wouldn't, right? Because we know our area very well. So, for example, I would know what's really happening in marketing today very well. I would also know other two, three areas which are attached to marketing. So, for example, advertising, I would know what's really happening. Yeah. But if you're going to ask me what's the latest thing in software development, I would be lost because that's not my area of expertise at all. Therefore, what about the occupational researches that are happening? Our decision needs to be based on research, pure scientific researches, and not just purely of saying this is good or this is not. We don't know. So for example, I am at the moment, if my child is wanting to get into a software thing, I have no clue of what that field is right now, or what are the things that are happening in that field. Yeah. Therefore, you need to be updated on the world path, on saying what's really happening, what's the actual research saying. And here I think we also have a role of, I think our role becomes investment manager. And when I say investor, we are the one who gonna finance our child's education at the end of the day. Yeah. Therefore I more and more I think we need to choose very wisely. And even the smallest decision of buying a television, we do so much of research. Yeah. A car, we do so much of research, and then we buy. This is our child's future, and we miss the basic thing of doing proper research before we actually push our child in a certain direction, or even advise the child in a certain direction. Yeah. The other thing that I'm think, and as you move forward, the role of the parent moves towards more a project manager. Once you have decided on what are your child interests, what are your child's strengths, what are your child's personality and his ambitions, clubbed together by pure research. Yeah, when you put it together, you then have to say, okay, I have given all the right uh, you know right equipments of the puzzles to the child, right equipments to the puzzle to the child. And therefore, if I have given the right equipment to the puzzle to the child, he therefore needs to put it one, two, three, four, five together. And my role would be to sit aside and say, yes, he is going in the right direction right now. This starts happening after 10th, 11th, 12th, where you have decided by 10th that this is the future career path of my child. After this, the role becomes of a project manager, where you say, yes, it is going as per what I have defined for my child. Then my focus starts really shifting onto the more from saying, rather than saying which path he needs to take, it's about saying what kind of money that would I be needing for my child's education, how much would I be needing, where can I get that from. And that's where your part of role would start becoming it. And at the end of it, once that he's in 12th and once he's it's more of a role of, over the time, helping the child to understand, what a career, the final career is going to look like. So completely becomes a facilitator job, and just checking a job of saying that he's on the right path, and he hasn't deviated from the career path that is going to happen. Yeah. So those are the kind of things that would happen. I am going to, end my presentation with a kind of example, because I've spoken a lot of things here. When I say crafting a child, what is the first stage? Yeah, and this ideally should happen between 8th, 9th, and 10th, because I think even 10th, by 10th, your child should be very clearly be knowing where he wants to head on. Yeah, which is it that, because once, see, I think what really, how does it help for a child? This helps because once you have a clear objective, yeah, you know the kind of efforts that you need to put in your final 10th. Yes, for example, if you know today that a simple things that you want to go, and I'll give you a very normal, if you have an objective of going on a vacation, you start planning, right? I will require this much money, these are the places I want to see. Similarly, if I have a destination, which is very clearly defined, saying that yes, I want to do today, tomorrow I want to do an MBA from an XYZ college, and I my all my personality as well as strength saying this is the right path to take. The child himself will know that this is the kind of effort that would be required if I want to reach that destination. So the whole thing of about being behind the child, keep pado, you must study, 10th is important, 12th is important, goes away. That stress of saying, oh, this is 10th and this are boards, and once the child himself is under the realization this is my career pathway, it becomes very easy for the parent as well as the child to walk the pathway. So the stage one example for two different children, someone who is great in numerical abilities, yeah, you have recognized that, has interest in becoming an entrepreneur, versus a child who is great at language but also wants to become an entrepreneur. Yeah. So if these are the kind of things, I'm just giving you very basic. Yeah. So for example, here there are detailed tests which are available, psychometric tests, and which are like really purely scientific tests that are available to come at. But I'm just giving you a glimpse of how various career options can be brought in. So for example, someone who is great at English as a language, yeah, what would you do? Yeah, would you, but at the same time is also good at maths. Yeah, would you want to push your child saying, yeah, it doesn't work, English has no future, example? Yeah, what, you will become a professor? So just opening up the kind of this the language today has had, so there are so many new careers that have come with just the pure English as a language. Yeah. So for example, someone who's great at language and wants to pursue it, the persuasion therefore would be saying, okay, let's get a BA degree in English, get a MA degree from a good college further. You could actually become an entrepreneur today. Creative writing, it's one of the biggest business, yeah, today in India. One of the biggest business in India is creative writing for kids, which is available. English, TOEFLs of the world, language experts, which never were, today, language experts have become the biggest, one of the biggest professions around, where people are wanting, and I'm just giving an example of English. Mandarin, yeah, Mandarin is going to be, people are there are not enough people around who understand Mandarin. Mandarin is going to be spoken tomorrow as the biggest language, and with technology going in, there would be requirement of people who would be able to move even simple coded language to Mandarin, for example, or moving from Mandarin instruction to simple technology. So even simple things like that are having great career impacts. Yeah. Content writers, big thing, big thing in today, all media industries. Amazing content. Have we never thought about content writers? They are the biggest thing today. Yeah. So there are multiple color, once you understand your child personality, abilities, and then interest, and map it together. The second stage is basically to understand that there are going to be multiple career pathways. Yeah. Never ever, and I as we say, never to put your eggs in one basket. There are going to be multiple career pathways which are going to be open. Say, ideally you must choose between 3 to 4 with your child, saying these are the 4 pathways that we want to take up. And then depending on a lot of our situations, whether you want your child to be sent abroad, not sent abroad, whether what's the kind of funds which are available, you actually choose on the kind of pathways which are available for your child. It would be ideally 2 to 4 that you will have, and then you narrow down to one, and take it further. And the final, the once by, I think by between 10th to 12th, before 12th rather, you should be very clear about where your child is going to head forward. Yeah. By that time there is going to, and when I say head forward, it means just not doing the graduation and post graduation, post graduation. what's the kind of job he has availability today. Is he going to be equipped for that job? Most of the people say, yeah, let me just finish up my post graduation and then I will get into the best of the companies and then we'll see how. It's not like that anymore. It is about saying, yes, let's get a degree, let's understand the next 5 years of the first 5 years of our work, and then how am I going to progress in that corporate environment, or how am I going to progress as a doctor, or any other, for that matter, a profession. So there's a certain pathway that you start creating even post the first career pathways that are created. So this is my basic thing on saying that it is time to craft our child's career scientifically, and just not and start opening up ourselves to a lot of questions. I am going to open up Q and A's here. As I said, I would be also be available on my mail ID to, because each child is different, each child's query is different. You can mail me your queries and I will try and answer it to the best. I'm going to open up for the Q&A, and maybe you could just start asking. I'm going to try and answer to my best of abilities whatever questions you have. So I'm going to give everyone some time. You can start typing your questions here.
Hello
I
everyone.
can read.
Hello everyone. I'm Siruchi from Dheya. If anyone has any questions, please type them in the chat so that Shivani ma'am can answer everyone. Mrs. Samruddhi, you had a question. Please ask her now.
If you are feeling uncomfortable on the chat, I am fine answering. If you could just open up, and ask the question also, I will try and answer that.
There is an option for private questions and private chat. You can click on the private and ask me or Shivani ma'am any question you want.
Samruddhi, you had a question.
Okay, I think Samruddhi is not in the room at the moment, so we can conclude the webinar if you want.
Yes. So what I am going to spell out is my, mail ID right now.
There is a question, ma'am.
Okay, the question is on homeschooling and options available in India. Uh, so the question says, what is your opinion for homeschooling and options available in India? Okay, on homeschooling, okay, so I think more than homeschooling, yeah, presently, the question is, I know out of India there are a lot of people who do homeschooling very, very efficiently, yeah, and there are enough websites, enough material on net for us to do homeschooling, yeah, for our children completely. Uh, my only hitch in India is to pass a 10th or 12th, yeah, through homeschooling. There's not enough information available. So no doubt that your child can be educated because there's enough information. There are so many apps nowadays, and I think it's become easier and easier day by day, yeah, to do homeschooling today. But after 10th and 12th, yeah, for the exams. uh, in India, there is not yet a very clear pathway available. In foreign countries, there are. In India, there is not. If you are specifically looking out for any options available, I could ask the Dheya team to do some research and get back to you, for sure. But if your question is just India, I don't know. Homeschooling can be done, but exams and getting certificates of the exams, and then therefore colleges accepting homeschooling is going to be a bit difficult in India, honestly. I can see one more question here. Okay, if you have four career option open, then how can one choose the perfect one? Okay, so what will happen, Prakya, here is, when you have four careers with you that you would be given, yeah, they would actually be in a very similar strength. So for example, they would be more like, you could, so someone who's an extrovert as a personality, yeah, is very social, has great communication, abilities also, can be, and has, can either go in PR or media relations. Yeah. So when I give you career options, they would be career options of saying whether you would want to go towards media net, where there are, you could become a presenter, a reporter, or you could also go to a public relation companies where, where there are this pure public crisis management companies. For example, a lot of countries hire crisis managers, a lot of pharma companies hire crisis managers. Then there is this whole, every corporate has a corporate communication. So now for all this equivalent kind of things, yeah, the career that you would get because of the personality would be very similar, depending on the personality and the abilities. It's the question of, therefore, saying that this all three are there, yeah, there would also be the topmost that would be given to you, saying what's the topmost thing. So ideally there would be topmost, second and third. The best career suited to you would also be given to you, uh, depending on the whole tests which is done. And then depending on saying that yes, I would want to, depending on your funds, depending on the situations that you would want to, ideally you should ideally take up the first career that is suggested to you, and then open up the pathways. It wouldn't be that all four are equivalent. That's not how you will have a critical decision making tree that would be available to you. The second question, I think again, is after psychometric test, my daughter got options like biotech, biomedical, and medical science. Yes. In terms of when saying biotech, biomedical, and medical science, uh, you can actually further define. Yeah. For example, biotech is very different from biomedical. Yeah, the kind of personalities that you require for a biotechnician versus a biomedical person would be very different. What kind of personality is your daughter? Yeah. Also, there would be a lot of interest that she would be showing. As a parent, you would be knowing that there would be a certain kind of interest that the child is showing to you. You need to understand from the child what's there. So if I had to say, if you are confused, then you must further look at saying what's the personality of your child, yeah, and what are the interests. Because believe me, it's the interest which is going to keep your child motivated. So if you're the child could be great at maths, but if he doesn't have interest in numerical abilities, not worth trying. So uh, and Pragya, I would want, if you can, you can always get back to me, as I said, on my mail ID, where I could actually look at the thing and then further on saying, redefine on saying what is it that can be done. So I hope I've answered the question to you on this. There are a couple of more question here. How does strength skills identified before any psycho, how can it be asked from parents in any questions or feedback sheet. Uh, the question here is about, am I understanding the question correct? You need to tell me, Satish. The question that you have asked me is, uh, before doing any psychometric tests, yeah, is there a way a parent can understand what are the kind of strengths and skill the child has? Am i am i answer getting your question correct? Then I can answer it accordingly. If you could just type yes to me, I would know it then. Okay, so I'm going to answer that question here on saying that yes, you can understand your child's strength and weaknesses uh, without okay. This is a dichotomy here, because when you do not, when you do a certain kind of test, it becomes very clear, yeah, because it, you can see from outside couple of skills. Yeah, you may not be able to get. So for example, you will say that, okay, my child, so for example, your child, when you're looking at the report cards and stuff, from, that's why I said from first to eighth standard you have 8 years to understand your child better before you actually put your child into any kind of scientific test. Yeah, you would have an overall understanding that, my child has always top scored in maths, yeah, versus his language abilities. While you talk, even the kind of effort that you have to put behind language abilities, yeah, is much more higher. You will also see that when you're teaching the child, there are something that the child naturally picks up very clearly, very easy, yeah, or would be very interested in, therefore picks up very clearly. So interest and everything, you can, yes, if you are completely involved with your child, more or less you will know. But is it, if the question is about saying, is it equivalent to any psychometric test? No, it is not, because it gives you in-depth thing of your child's psychology. We ourselves don't understand our mind. Imagine you're saying by asking feedbacks and simple questions you will understand. It requires a certain kind of knowledge to do that. So no, is it a replacement? It is not a replacement, for very sure. uh, the Okay, thank you, Satish. I think I've answered the question well, hopefully. The other thing that Dr. Ajay Prajapati has asked me is, my child is 2 year old. I am a doctor. How can I watch over my son and increase his ability in his interest? Sir, I want to ask you, when you say my child is 2 years, is that what you're saying? How can I watch over my son and increase his ability in his interest? Okay, so I'm gonna give you I'm gonna where can I do psychosomatic tests? Okay, psychometric tests are basically for career. Now, in terms of my suggestion to you is, um, in the starting of it, from your from the child interest, I think 2 years is too young. By the time they are in sixth 6 year old, yeah, you will start understanding certain flares. So for example, if your child is very active into sports, yeah, and my suggestion would be to expose the child to a lot of stuff, yeah. So for example, keep your child in a lot of activities, yeah, and see which one he persists for a long time. You will see a behavior where you will see that the child drops out. Yes, for example, if you keep him for dancing example, or a sports activity, yeah, and if you're a doctor, you will see that when you're talking a lot of stuff about your work environment, yeah, how is the child relating to that, yeah? You will see that most of the children, when they are very interested, they will keep on at it at persistent, yeah. If he's going to be really interested in sports, believe me, he will never leave sports, yeah. He will, from first standard, if he's going to, from the time he's 6 year old to the time 8, he will find ways, yeah. So for example, people have seen children who are so interested in crickets and sport, they will get up at 6 a.m. in the morning, versus they won't get up on normal days at all. So those are certain things that you could see on saying from a interest perspective. From abilities perspective, my suggestion would be, as I said, uh, if your child has you started realizing your child has a flair for language and communication, go ahead, develop it in depth. Yeah, go and take experts on that. For example, go for creative writings, go for elocutions, in terms of there are this huge Cambridge things which are available. Go to biggest experts and develop it to the best. Yeah, so that's how you can do, saying that take your interest and you will understand abilities from your school teachers. They will, the best people to talk are your school teachers. Yeah, they understand your child, because there is one side of your child that you see at home, there's another side that the school teacher, the class teacher sees. Get reports, and all this mixed together slowly develop your child. I hope, sir, I have answered your question here. Are we, Niharika, do we have more questions? I can see a couple of more questions. Okay, yes, there is one question from Kirti. My son wants to take a career that involves adventure, tourism, and event management. What sort of careers are there? Kirti, loads of them. Loads of them. Event management, as I understand, event management and tourism, better. If your child wants to child if it's about biggest thing that are coming are travel bloggers. Yeah, there are, those are, when you're saying futuristic careers, yeah, those are futuristic careers. A lot of uh, people in terms of tourism. Yeah, uh, there is tourism also now is no more about just going and seeing a place. Yeah, there are tourism which are very niche. So for example, there could be heritage walks which are there. There would be certain adventures. For example, certain people want to only go to certain kind of not touch places, untouched places. So there are careers coming there. So if you want any kind of further questions, write to me. I will try and do a further research and send that answers to you, Kirti, for sure. If your question is on adventure tourism and event management, these are the top 2 3 I could speak about, but I will just mail it to me. I will do a bit of research and mail it back to you. What else? I am getting a lot more questions. I am very happy that I'm getting so many questions. uh, Niharika and Suchi, are we there? Do we have more questions? Am I done with questions here?